Hey guys, my name is Miska and welcome to Overwatch Central. There's no news and there's basically nothing happening around Overwatch. We were considering maybe not even uploading a video today, but I really wanted to put this together and I've been wanting to look at this for a while. Old Overwatch and all of the things that are kind of changed that we've forgotten about over the years. Some of the footage I looked at today is over 3 years old and it's kind of mind-boggling to think about. But yeah, let's just get into it. Like, I want to just get to the actual footage because that's what this is all about. First off, just how ridiculous the no hero limit actually was. To demonstrate this, here's one of the first tournaments ever in Overwatch. The first one I believe was the Sombrero Cup, the second was the Fish Sticks Invitational, and then this was the first Gozo Gamers Weekly NA, which was a weekly so the tournament held for a small or no prize pool. And as you can see, the diva spam here towards the end of Gibraltar is just nuts. It's also kind of funny to note who's actually in this game. You have people like Seagull in this game, you've got CoolMat69, as well as Clockwork, and in a bunch of these tournaments a bunch of other players that actually are still around and are playing in Overwatch League now. But I'm glad the hero limit didn't stick around as long as the players did. Here's also a ridiculous strat we did with some Reinhardts. Now this was pretty fun and you can obviously still do this just for fun in no limits, where we just put like a bunch of Reinhardts together with a Hanzo in the middle trying to walk through the first point of Hanamura here. I remember also doing this with just a bunch of divas and then one Lucio, like 5 divas, 1 Lucio. And even at the time it actually felt fairly broken, but it was still pretty fun to do. We were 6-stacking a lot back in the early days of the beta as well, I remember, and before the game launched. Some of the most controversial characters early on though were actually Torbjorn and Bastion, obviously, as they are pretty good against new players and everyone were basically new players back then. Torb and Bastion were both really annoying to play against and they were actually pretty different even before they've been reworked. Torb has been reworked like 3 times I think in total now. Bastion about 2 or 3 times as well. Back then Torbjorn could still build a turret up to level 3 himself, but he had to do it by collecting scrap. Both of those mechanics being pretty annoying to deal with for Torbjorn, but the turret was still nuts at level 3 and the auto aim on it was just ridiculous as well. It would just instantly turn to you. Bastion of course had that shield that I'm sure you guys have seen previously in old pictures of only old players will remember this and stuff like that. And it's pretty fun to look back at, especially when it was such a big deal that when the beta went on a break over the Christmas time, it was down during almost the entirety of December and a lot of January, if not the entirety of January too. And then Torbjorn and Bastion came back and they were reworked and changed, and it was kind of weird to see those big reworks to those characters happening already back then. We'll get back to Bastion a little bit later as well. But for now I wanted to take a look at some of the maps, as in this Diva gameplay right here, for example, one of Volskaya, and I remember how different some of the maps used to just look overall. Just some of the lighting in general, but also just all of the different assault objectives having these round platforms on the bottom. Temple of Anubis as well, I remember, used to have this really tiny doorway. Like, look how narrow this thing is. You could just so easily grab into this or whatever, and it was just so hard for the attackers to do anything here. There was a super narrow doorway and the wall on the left hand side for the attackers as well. Well, there was actually a wall there, because nowadays there's obviously no wall. So back in the day you just had the super narrow gate or doorway there and then the flank on the right, and that was it. It was pretty rough honestly, and a lot of the maps have changed quite a lot over time, but this was definitely one of the more extreme cases where that change was really needed as well. Because of the whole no limits thing as well, I remember the old, I think it was called the IDDQD comp or the God comp that the team IDDQD used to run. You might recognize some more of the players here. But yeah, back in the day, this double Zenyatta, double Genji, and then Symmetra and Lucio comp was a pretty big deal because it was so hard to kill these Genjis when they just had all these shields from the Symmetras. That was how Symmetra used to work back then, just give temporary shields to all of the allies at the start of the game, so you just had more health basically. And then the Zenyatas with their then also really strong orbs on the Genjis. I'm pretty sure the orbs didn't even leave the character if they were out of line of sight, it just stayed on them. And yeah, like I said, you might recognize some of the players here. Mendo Kosai, Chips Hyen, Coco, Shore4, Kai are all names that we still see around. Some of the players here I believe are on alts as well. I think the Lucy on the red team here is actually Harry Hook, and we of course have Internet Hulk as well on the left there, who I was always a big fan of in the early beta days as well. He was pretty well known for back then just really bringing Symmetra into a lot of comps too. Yeah, it was definitely a very different time. And looking back at it, the fact that we released a video 6 days or so after the release of Overwatch that was titled "Should We Have Hero Limits?" feels kind of crazy looking back at it now. It feels somewhat similar to the whole role queue, hero picks, and other sort of major features that people have suggested recently, but yeah, was definitely a different game back then. I said we'd get back to Bastion, and we're gonna do that right now as well. As for the outro, I figured we'd play this old song that Ryan and I made. Well, mostly Ryan, to be honest, but yeah, enjoy the start of Bastion Blues here for the outro of this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. So quickly, just everything has been so crazy recently, and it's just nice to just sit back and relax a little bit and get something to eat here and celebrate, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. I mean, shame we didn't really make a special video in time for 100k subscribers, though. It would have been nice to, you know, give the audience something nice.
Yeah, it sucks, but yeah, I don't know. Why are you playing Bastion, by the way? You're kind of asking to get your ass kicked, you know?
Yeah, I know, but I feel kind of bad for him. The fact that he's both kind of weak at a professional level, but also gets a lot of flack for killing people in public games. So I don't know, I just wanted to represent Bastion a little bit more in games. It really gets me down though, Miska. So much so, I wrote a song about it. Well, my name is Bastion, I'm awful kind. But some say my damage output is too high. I get those kills when I burn down shields. I'm stationary, but I'm quick on my heels. This is a breeze, please don't nerf me, please. These Bastion Blues are all I need. So Reinhardt and Mercy, they are my bros.